Lesson we are going to look at determiners, especially quantifiers. This is part 1, point 1. Many, many and much. Many means a great number. It is used with countable nouns and it always gives you a plural meaning. Many, first of all, means something that you have enough, more than you need. And it's used before nouns that can be counted. And it will always give you a plural meaning. For example, many men believe in God. Many people went to greet him. He has many books. In these 3 examples, you can see the nouns have been used in their plural form. In the first sentence, it's men, which indicates more than one. In the second sentence, it's people, which indicates obviously more than one. And in third sentence, books, which indicates obviously more than one. Second is many. It means many times one man has done something. It always takes a singular noun, means after many it will be a man, woman, girl, boy. The noun is always going to be singular, and the verb that it takes will always be singular, but it gives you a plural meaning. For example, many a man knows it. It means many men knows it. Many a man died for the noble cause. It means many men died for the noble cause. Many a little makes a mickle. It means if you add up little amount of many things, it will make a mickle, means a greater number. Third one is much. It means a large quantity, and it is used before uncountable nouns, which means nouns that cannot be counted. For example, and much and many means the same thing, same amount. It means you have something more than enough. The carpenter has much work in hand. Work here is uncountable because it indicates all the kinds of works that are there in this world. There is not much sugar in the pot. Sugar, the noun, is uncountable. I haven't much tea. It means you do not take much tea. You don't take tea quite often. You don't like to have tea quite often. In these 3 examples, you can see the nouns that have been used after the quantifier. It's uncountable. Therefore, the use of the word much. In place of much and many, other phrases can be used. For example, a lot of, lots of, a great number of, a deal of, a great deal of, most of, etc. For example, he spent a lot of money. We can say he spent much money. In place of much money, it can be said he spent a lot of money. A large quantity of kerosene was spoiled. In here I can say much kerosene was spoiled. An idle man has plenty of time. I can say an idle man has much time. A large number of people attended the meeting. I can say many people attended the meeting. Harry did a great deal of work. In here, Harry did much of a work or much work. These words or these phrases that you see above, they are used in place of much and many. Let's take a look at second point, that is some and any. Some and any, these 2 quantifiers are used with both countable nouns and uncountable nouns. Let us try to understand how much they mean. Some means it is not parallel to much or many. Some means you have just the amount you need. You don't have enough of that. Which means if you are asked to distribute, if you are asked to share, it cannot be shared to a great number of people. In here, let's take a look at first 4 examples. He has some bread. In here, the word bread is uncountable. So you can see some is used before an uncountable noun. The second one, please pass some sugar. In here also you can see the noun sugar is uncountable, hence some is used before an uncountable noun. There is some coffee in the kettle. In this example as well you can see that coffee is uncountable and some is used before an uncountable noun. In the fourth example it's different because some is used before a countable noun. I want to buy some eggs. By looking at this example and the other examples, it is hence proven that some can be used with countable nouns as well as uncountable nouns. And some means not enough. It means just the amount or just the number you need. Any, on the other hand, is used in the negative sentences as well as in interrogative sentences. But sometimes some can be used in in negative sentences and interrogative sentences, which is quite rare. Some people do not like fish. Will you give me some salt? But in actual sense, in negative and interrogative sentences, any is more suitable and any is used. This means if you see an example in the examination that is negative and there is a noun that might be countable or uncountable, you have to use any. You do not be confused and you shouldn't use some in place of that. But keep in mind, while speaking, if you use in negative structures some as well as in interrogative structures some, it will be alright. But in examinations, you must know that any should be used in negative and interrogative sentences. For example, you can see, have you any money with you? In here, while speaking, you can say, have you some money with you? That would be completely alright. But if you see that sentence in the examination, you have to use any. He doesn't want to buy any eggs. In here, you can see any has been used. While speaking, you can say he doesn't want to buy some eggs. It's completely alright to say that. But if you find that very same example in the examination, you have to use any. One more thing to notice here is that any is used with both uncountable and countable nouns. As I said in the beginning, that any and some is simultaneously used with countable and uncountable nouns. In example 1, you can see any has been used before the uncountable noun money. And in the second example, you can see any has been used before a noun that is countable, which is egg. Let's now proceed to number 3, that expresses a set of quantifiers, that is little, a little and the little, or the little. In order to understand these 3 quantifiers, you have to imagine that you have a glass of water right in front of your eyes. Little means almost no water in it. It means if you were to drink that water from that very glass, it will not quench your thirst. It means it cannot satisfy the thirst that you have right now, which means little is used before negative meanings. A little, on the other hand, would mean that you have some water in that glass that you are imagining and which can quench your thirst for now. It means if you drink the water, it will do for you right now, but after drinking, there won't be any water left in the glass. The little, on the other hand, would mean the same as a little. It means you do not have much amount of that. You would have very little amount of that, which means as much as you need. But da little would mean that you want absolutely all of it, all the water or whatever type of liquid you have in that glass. Now keep in mind, little, a little, and da little are used with only uncountable nouns, which means nouns that cannot be counted. Let's try to read them. Little means not much. It means you cannot compare little with much. If much means more than enough, little means less than enough, which means it cannot even satisfy you. It has a negative meaning. Little gives you a negative meaning, and this set is used before uncountable nouns. That is absolutely you need to keep in your mind. There is little sugar left in the pot. If you read this example, you would find out that it says it gives you a negative meaning. If you wanted to have a cup of tea or something that includes sugar in the diet, you have little of that, which means you almost do not have. In the second example, there is little hope of his life. It means in percentage wise, in 100, little would mean 20 to 30% hope of his life, which means the chances of the person's death is more. A little on the other hand means there is some at least. It has a positive meaning. Unlike little, a little gives a positive meaning. It says you have some amount of something. A little means that you have an amount which can satisfy you right now, but once your desire is fulfilled, you would need to refill that. And it has a positive meaning. Let's try to look at the example. There is a little milk in the jug, which means if you want to drink milk right now, a little is available. Some milk, a little can be compared with the amount, some milk is there, you can drink right now. A little knowledge is a dangerous thing. It means you have a little knowledge. Say there is a topic and you know only 30 to 40% about that topic. A little. A little knowledge is a dangerous thing because the sentence is a positive sentence, but it gives a negative meaning. Although a little is used here positively. If you have 40 to 50% knowledge about a thing, it might turn your knowledge into a dangerous knowledge because you do not know the end result of that knowledge. You do not know that thing entirely. Last one is da little. Da little means not much, as I said. The amount, if you ask me, it is as same as a little. But this means you need the whole of that. Whatever amount of that you have in that jar or in that glass. I spent the little money I had. It means all the money you had, you spent it. Now you do not have a single penny in your pocket. He wanted the little milk I had in my jar. It means that human being wanted, that person wanted all the milk you had in your jar. Means after giving him, you wouldn't have a single drop of milk left in that jar. So da little means all amount of that. Now if you look at few, a few, the few, it's the same thing, but few, a few, the few, these quantifiers are used with countable nouns, and the rules are same with them as well. Few means not many. It means with this set of this set of quantifiers, you need to imagine that you have a bucket of something, and few means say you have apple, say you have some sort of fruit or vegetable in it. Few means not many. It means you do not even have enough amount of that. If that's about fruits, you don't have enough of that. Means it is not sufficient for you as well. So there is no question of sharing that amount. Hence, it will give you a negative force, which means a negative meaning. If you say, in these examples now, let us look at, if you say, there were few persons on the road, it means when you went for a walk, you saw barely a single man on the street, which is quite evident these days. Few persons will believe you. It means if you go on asking about people, you would find out that very few people, which means almost no one will believe you. Maybe you are a culprit or you lie a lot. He read few books. In this example, you can see that he almost read no books. He perhaps started reading a book, but he could not go on finishing it. He could not finish that book. Few men are saints. In this example, this gives you a negative meaning. It means almost no man is a saint. Everybody does something. Everybody does some sort of sinful activities in their life. So you cannot say that all the human beings, or there is a single entity that is sane, that is saint. Secondly, if you look at FU, it is just as same as a little. This one is used before countable nouns, and it means at least some number of things you have in the bucket. If that example you took of fruits, you have some, and that can satisfy you, but you are not in a position to share that with anybody. It gives you an affirmative meaning, which means a positive meaning. Let's look at example and try to understand. He has written a few books. This means he has written quite a few books, a number of books, say 7 to 8 or 10 to 15 books, but not like hundreds or not like 50s. He was asked to say a few words. In here, it would mean that he was asked to speak for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, not like 30 minutes or an hour. So a few gives you a positive meaning, just like a little. It is the only difference between them is that a few is used with countable nouns and a little is used with uncountable nouns. Let us look at the last quantifier of this set, that is the few. The few means not many, but all of them, just like the little. It gives you the meaning that not many in number. You have just enough you need. And but it says that all the number of that you have to give, or the person demands all the number of the thing that you have. Let's look at the examples. He distributed the few books he had, means all the books on that subject. He distributed them, means after distribution, he did not have a single book in his house. The few clothes the tailor had were spoiled. It means all the clothes that the tailor had were spoiled. Not a single cloth left there. Every single one of them got spoiled. So this is your part 1. Part 2 will come soon. If you have any question on this, feel free to ask in the group.